Break 80, another exciting company joining us today. I've got three members from the Stuerer and Jacoby. Did I get that right?
Jacoby.
Jacoby. I knew I'd screw that up. Jacoby, Stuerer and Jacoby Group. I've got Megan, Will, and Bailey with me today. And they are and Will, the founding member, three of the high ranking members of this amazing group doing great things with the golf bag. But it goes further. I wanted to first hand it off and just get a description from Will, who I found has been at this for 42 years. Give a little bit of insight into the company that I presume you started.
Yes, I did start this company. My background actually when I got out of college was with Wilson Sporting Goods back in the late 60s. And after leaving that, I was looking for a niche business and uh, landed up discovering that golf bags would be a cool niche business in the early 80s and started a full-time focus and passion for golf bags and coming up with different designs and ideas from there going forward. And this particular business that I have now, which transcended through two other businesses, we started off making bags for McGregor, Hogan, Osted's Golf, which was the largest catalog business in the world back in the 80s and 90s. And Nancy Lopez Golf, Powerbuilt Golf, Dunlop, a lot of different golf companies we made bags for in those days, but they were mass produced. Towards the 90s, everything shifted overseas because duties were taken off of sewn products, basically the luggage group, which golf bags fell into that category. I kind of decided, well, I'll go into retirement since there was no longer the ability to make them. And quite honestly, I did do the import route for about 6 years and got tired of spending 3 to 4 months a year overseas, dealing with factories and product designs and materials. I retired, and about 14 years ago, a good friend of mine by the name of Mike Just, who was real active in the Hickory golf movement. He made custom clubs, Hickory clubs. Mike kept badgering me to come back to the golf bag business because he said, you made the best golf bag, and make a bag focused for the Hickory market, which would be a small bag. Usually, well, they were all made out of canvas or leather. So I said, just leave me alone. I was enjoying my life of retirement, fishing and golfing and doing whatever I wanted to do, not what I had to do. And finally, he blackmailed me into getting back into the bag business by saying he wasn't going to re-grip another set of my Hogan radial clubs I was using at the time unless I would make a golf bag. So I said, all right, I need the clubs gripped. I'll think about it. And looked at a couple different places to have them contract made, but nobody had the skills in this country, in our area at all, to really make a golf bag. There is a talent to it. And quite honestly, Megan, who's my daughter, was able to pick up on it and does a marvelous job. So I finally decided to take the plunge and buy the equipment and start up a small shop making just custom bags for people. And the most interesting thing was my first customers were here, but my first large customers were in a country that will probably amaze you, was Switzerland. Within the first 2 months, I sold 60 golf bags into Switzerland. And then I sold another 60 into Switzerland, and because they're huge over there in Hickory Golf. And then it branched out, and basically half our business is outside of the US. Megan's working on a large order right now for Japan, and it's just blossomed from there. We went from Hickory Golf to where a lot of guys that play modern golf uh, wanted our bag because they were tired of advertising for some golf company that they really didn't care about, or a brand they didn't care about, but the name was slapped on the side of the bag. And our identity on all our bags is very discreet. It's actually embossed into the leather. Uh, so that's kind of the history of where we are. We now sell probably half our businesses with modern golfers, the other half with Hickory golfers, which is a good mix for us.
That is fantastic. I want to go back to something you mentioned. You mentioned the origin of the company having these contracts. And for those listeners right now that do not know, Wilson was the club manufacturer. I'm talking tailor-made level, R&D, Callaway level spending. And you were the bag manufacturer for them at the time?
I made some of Wilson's bags because their factory couldn't keep up with what they needed. But besides that, I made bags for McGregor. I made everything for Hogan. Made everything, or about 3/4 of the bags for Ostead Golf. It was everything for McGregor as well. Everything for Nancy Lopez Golf. Uh, Made part of the line for Power Built, H&B. Those were the names of golf in the 80s and 90s. Callaway was just starting to come up. Obviously, Titleist has been around for quite a long time. And their strength was in balls and shoes with FootJoy, but they were growing in the club business and were pretty strong because they had a lot of players on the tour. But Hogan and Wilson were, I'll say, the dominant, and McGregor were the three dominant club manufacturers that had players on the tour.
How do those bags differ now in their construction between those that were being mass produced for some of the largest companies at the time versus what you have now, this wonderful niche market with a mixture of modern and hickory players? Have the bags changed in their construction between the two groups?
The construction really has not changed. I've stayed with what I'm going to call an American manufacturing process versus how they're made in Asia, overseas. We have a frame, we have a ring. We're still using some of the old, what I call technology or product construction versus using composites. We're sticking with the metal, mainly because everything in our product is American made. That's the big thing that we like to push is, quality, tradition, and made in America. The only parts of our bags that aren't made in America is we import tartans from Scotland, as well as tweeds from Scotland to put into our bags. Other than that, it's all American. Our frames and rings are here. Our hardware is a source out of Massachusetts, and all our leathers are tanned in Tennessee.
Goodness, and the company headquarters still in was it Jeffersonton, Tennessee? Is that
No, we're in Kentucky. We're in
okay?
the city of Jeffersontown, Kentucky, which is a suburb of Louisville.
Excellent, and a lot of background there with hickory. So that and bats, I suppose. A lot of hardwood sports coming out of that area of the country. Uh, I
Yeah.
wanted to jump into the construction. You mentioned those composites. This was really curious to me. I didn't even know there was a difference between a bison and a buffalo, but it was noted that, and I'm here in the Midwest. I had no idea. It was noted that you use cow, bison, and buffalo in different areas of the bag depending on needs. Can you give us an idea of what those needs are and how those leathers differ? Because I didn't even know a buffalo and a bison were different animals, to be honest.
Well, a bison is a lot larger than a buffalo, first of all. Um, and give you kind of an idea, when we get our bison hides, they can be almost up to 60 square feet versus bison hide or buffalo hides can be closer to 40 to 45. Now, that's not saying we don't get bison hides that are 45. Depends on when, the particular animal the hides are coming from.
Should I go grab one?
Huh?
Do you want me to grab one?
Yeah. Megan will grab a hide and maybe you can get kind of an idea. The cow hides, those are all usually in about the 35 to 40 square foot. And those hides, when we do buy those hides, they're basically half hides because they're easier to manage in the shop, which we've been working on not to take away from your podcast, but a video on our website where people can see the shop. But you use mainly a weight of the leather. Megan brought it in here. We'll real quickly show you. You'll get an idea somewhere.
Oh my. And for those listening on Apple or Spotify right now, this hide is absolutely gorgeous. It's a cognac color, I would call it. And it could cover your 10-person, 12-person Thanksgiving table easily. Easily. Oh my goodness. Okay.
That's a bison hide.
That's a bison hide.
Yes.
And, now,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, as someone that has a couple Sunday type bags, they're composite materials. I've seen some ripping around edges before. Do the differences in leathers have differences in durability as well?
Yeah, this might help you here a little bit. This is a bison and cowhide Sunday bag. And what we tend to use is in what we call the trim areas, which would be your top cuff, your bottom cuff, and high stress areas, your sling, and giving it support through the bag. We'll use the cowhide, which is a little heavier weight. We get our hides in different weights. And this is a little heavier weight leather, and it'll hold the stress. It's not going to fray, because the majority of the bags that you would buy aren't going to have leather. They're going to have fake leather. They're going to have vinyl or polyurethane to look like leather, and they're very abrasive. Nice thing that you can tell about leather, even as it wears and gets older, it's not going to deteriorate. It'll deteriorate if you let it dry out or if you consistently abuse it. But we'll use a little bit thinner weight for the body of the bag, and where, like, even in your top cuff, where you have the stress of your clubs going in and out, we'll have the heavier leather just to give it durability. It comes back to our saying of quality and tradition.
Absolutely. And again, for those not able to see this on YouTube right now, it's an absolutely gorgeous bag, a two-tone brown leather bag. And that would be, is that a Sunday carry?
Yes, this is a Sunday bag.
Okay.
With our optional flap on the back.
Now, I noticed broken into two different sections, I would call them. A walking section, which includes the Sunday, the pencil, and the Mackenzie. And then the riding that had the staff, the airliner, and the Grand Tour. Am I separating those correctly?
I think you're doing a great job.
Okay.
You can be, would you like a job?
Sure. I did notice one very interesting thing was the pencil bag. I have never seen anything like it before, and it is very similar to a Sunday bag in that it's small, it looks very lightweight, and that one does have it. Okay, I was curious, it didn't have a walking strap. So for those that are familiar, Sunday bags are traditionally very light. You can go down in clubs. Some people choose to not carry the full 14 set when they carry. It's a single strap. It's meant for just light utility as you play. What's the difference between the Sunday and the pencil? Because I had never seen the pencil. It had a couple different pockets, and boy, did it carry something like 10 pencils on the outside.
Well, the pencil bag doesn't have that metal frame that the Sunday bag has. So it's kind of collapsible in the back. It does have a metal stick here in the front to give it that structure, but this is really for like if you're gonna play with 8 or 9 clubs, if you really don't want to carry a lot of clubs when you're playing.
Truly for those hickory enthusiasts, then, where 14 clubs certainly didn't exist in the days of brassies and mashies and niblicks.
And the other nice thing about a Sunday bag is if, for instance, a lot of private clubs have an executive course. And if a guy wants to go out and with his modern clubs and play the par 3 executive course, he can put the 4, 5, 6 clubs in it that he wants. And or if he's going to go to the driving range or he wants to go to Top Golf and play games, he can take what clubs he wants to take and that not have to carry his big bag.
That is one fantastic looking bag too. I see a lot of tartan on there, and this is how I'm going to transition to the Mackenzie bag, which looked like there was one specialty one, the Mackenzie OC tartan.
The black one.
Now, you mentioned sourcing two things from overseas. One of those, including that tartan. Can you bring us into where you source that from and the heritage around that bag?
Well, the tartans we get from a small woolen mill in Forfar, Scotland. And we get tartans in every month. Matter of fact, here's, they come in like this and go out like the pencil bag you saw. And the same with
Tweed.
the tweeds, but they come from a different, the tweeds are more interesting because they come from the heat, how do you say the island? Hibernian,
The outer
Hebrides
Hebrides.
islands. And those are all done by little weaving shops. And when we get the tweeds, there might only be 3 meters and that's it. Then they're off to doing something else. So they're never to be reproduced unless that particular weaver wants to keep doing it. And the other nice thing is anything that we get from and use their tweed for, we have to use their logo and their label on it to give them the credit for their artwork.
My goodness. So these bags, especially a tweed version through y'all, is completely unique, right? It's a one of one, completely handmade from the tweed or the tartan all the way through the leather and the stamping and everything that you do there. There's not a single ounce of anything let's call it man-made or mass-produced.
All our we have some stock bags that are unique in themselves, and Megan, who I'll give a good plug here for, is won the state fair. She's won 3 blue ribbons for her leather work, and then also a 3rd place for making duffel bags and purses and things like that. So she has a great unique eye for making items really custom. And this is one that she just got done with doing a patchwork tartan bag that has probably 10 different tartans. We stock close to 50 different tartans, but she made this bag using the different tartans. And we've sold a few of these already. This is one she just completed. And it's in a Sunday style bag. And this will never be reproduced. That's what people like about it. I keep trying to get her even to sign the inside of the leather bags because they're pieces of art. And that's one of the things about our bags. They're not mass produced because my saying I have, which drives people nuts, we want to make the bag you want, not the bag we want to make. Because if I wanted to make them all, they'd all be like Henry Ford's saying, You can have any color you want as long as it's black. And which is what he used with his Model T. Well, Model T, have any color you want, but it's going to be black. We want to be colorful. We want everybody to have a unique bag. We have one customer, and I know you asked about this bag, in France. Every 2 to 3 years, she orders a new bag. And her last bag, which I rolled my eyes on, she wanted to be purple, orange, pink,
And red.
and red. And I'm like, I sent back to her, I said, you want one of each color? No, I want all in one bag. And so I got the leather. I had to get some of it tan specially. Gave it to Megan. The bag was beautiful. And I got a letter back in French, which the only French I know is French fry. And she's ordered 2 of them. And I'm like, oh God, what's the next one going to be? So it's really, we are unique. And when you brought up the question about the history of the Mackenzie OC bag, Mackenzie was one of the 2 most known golf course architects back in the early 1900s was McAllister Mackenzie, as well as Donald Ross. And I thought, okay, give a little tribute to Mackenzie and Ross. They have their own tartans. And we started looking around at which ones, because you have what's in tartans, you have the modern and you have the what they call OCs, old colors. So we decided we like the old colors because it had so many different color variations in it. I know it's probably hard to see, but you had orange and you had green, you had black and you had a blue, and different variations of those colors. We thought, oh, how cool would this be to make? We basically only make it in 4 colors available, where we mix it with the wax stuck, because a lot of guys who use our bags, they may use our wooden sticks to have it hold it up as a stand. But we always put wax stuck on the back unless the customer says, nope, I want tartan all the way around, or I want tweed all the way around. But there's a little secret. We still put the wax behind it to protect the fabric from wear and tear and abrasion from clubs. But this gave us the ability to have a short line where we kind of can dictate what color the bags are going to be, where you can have the Mackenzie tartan with black, the Mackenzie tartan with spruce green, the Mackenzie tartan with orange, the Mackenzie tartan with navy blue. We also changed our frame, and if you look from the front of the bag, I can push the sides in. And most guys walking get tired of the frame of a bag hitting them in the side or the back. And so we designed the bag so it would be comfort for the player. The only thing that's going to hit him would be the shafts of his clubs. And yet it's a frame that I know you can't really see, but the bag will stand up by itself versus being a collapsible bag like the pencil. But our pencil, we put a frame stick in the front so that if you want to go to the driving range, it's not going to fall down like a sock okay, I'll use the age card right now. When I was a kid, you had what they did call a pencil bag, and it just fell down like a loose sock. So you go to the driving range, the bag fell down, your clubs went 100 different ways. It was pickup stick time. So that's why we've tried to improve them, but keep the tradition in each of our products.
You mentioned the OC, the old colors. Are those specific colors that are dictated to be the old colors?
Correct. These are dictated. Megan or Bailey, you might help me here for a minute, because I'm trying to remember with the tartans, they're all registered. And if it's going to have, whether it be the Stuart camel, the Stuart dress, the Mackenzie OC, whether it be the any of the different ones we have, they're dictated by the, I'm going to call it the Tartan Society of Scotland, that they have to be made in a certain way. Such as the tweeds have got to come from the outer Hebrides Islands. Otherwise, it's not a Scottish tweed. It's really an interesting, they protect their artistry, and tartans are artistry because it's been in their clothing. It's been the clans over the past hundreds of years. The families absolutely demand it. We had, was it McLaren? McLaren. We made some things for McLaren racing, and they had to have this, their tartan. Believe it or not, all our military branches have their own tartan. The Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and the Army all have their own tartan. And it goes way back, over 100 years. So it's really kind of a cool thing.
I have so many questions for my brother-in-law now. Why haven't you gotten out the tartan tux or the tartan suit that you got from the Navy? He's in the military, so I'll have to ask him about his tartan, or even get him a bag.
Yeah, I was just trying to look if I had the Navy up here. I have made quite a few bags for admirals, where they have the Navy tartan.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. So for those of you that have a service member in your family that is a golfer, how could you go wrong on a custom tartan golf
Navy
bag?
and a valuables pouch.
That's fantastic. And I was going to go into that, and I think that's a great transition. You do more than just golf bags. There's a host of riding bags, staff, airliner, and grand tour. I think a lot of our listeners actually walk, but y'all go into even more than that. Can you bring us through some of the other goods that you offer?
Sure. If I can just end one thing on golf.
Absolutely.
On the bags, what we have done is, I'm going to bring the same words up again, tradition and quality. We stopped with our designs basically in the mid-70s. We use what would be the old-fashioned staff bag, and bags up until the 70s, unless you were a touring pro, 8 inches was the size of the bag. And so the majority of the bags we make are either 8-inch or 7-inch. If you carry fewer clubs, you're going to be into the 7-inch, or the pencil bag for the guy that carries, a minimalist. Our 8-inch bags will hold 14 clubs without any problem. And the staff bag, I have one here somewhere. Oh, right here. People might remember this old side, look of the bag, where you had the apparel pocket on the back on one side. You had on this side was where the umbrella was. This goes back to what a staff bag was up until everybody decided to take the kitchen sink with them on the golf course.
It reminds me exactly of the red. I can see it in my head. The red Wilson staff bag with the cursive down the side. You've got that large, I'll call it back pocket, the umbrella sleeve, and the side pocket. And just the is that black and brown there with the trim on top?
Bag with a natural leather and black.
I think is there some logoing on that, or you do logoing and you do stamping for customers?
We can embroider into the leather. A lot of times what we have done is we put our emblem in. It's kind of, this might be, I don't know if you can see, we emboss it in there where you might see our name here.
Yep, just below kind of that bottom strap handle.
Again, it's discreet. What we will do with every bag that we sell, we will laser engrave into the leather whether the person wants their initials, their name. I've done biblical sayings. I have put nicknames and a couple things that I can't repeat.
Someone else must three putt too much too, if they're putting 4-letter words on their bag. That that is a phenomenal looking golf bag, and it does harken back to a little bit of an older era. Um, it gosh, the mixture of that with the pencil, I can just see hickory clubs coming out of the pencil bag, and I can see a set of those 1970s McGregor blades with persimmon woods coming out of that bag. And I hope that golf can get back to some of that pure form, because that's what some of us play up here is a set of hickories or a different vintage set from different eras. And
Well,
the golf bags that you're making fit perfectly into a bit of a nostalgic era for many of us that love that time.
you could have found in college, Bailey played college golf and on the women's team at Bellarmine University. And she had one of our bags and had her tailor-made blades in it. So you can use anything if you want, you know. There's no sacrilegious thing about putting modern clubs into our bags. So
Now, Bailey, was it hard to blend in with that bag out there, as everyone else had the team bag with the nylon and the bright,
Oh,
likely bright colors?
Everyone would come up to me and be like, "Oh, where did you get that bag? It's so pretty." And I'm like, "Oh, I can tell you exactly where you can get that bag."
I always like to say it's all about how you look before you get to the first tee, and these golf bags certainly help. After that, then you actually have to show up with your game, and for me, it usually goes downhill. But tons of style walking up to that first tee. Um,
but back, to the other accessories you had brought up, we do, here's a set of tweed head covers. We do putter covers, a lot of valuables pouches out of leather, tweeds, and um, uh,
Canvas.
canvas. I mean, we get creative with like patterns like this of different leathers.
that
For
is a 5 different leather stitched together head cover I'm seeing.
yes, it's a patchwork that Megan's team does, and we do um, alignment stick covers. We have duffel bags that you can see up here behind us,
Shoe bags.
shoe bags, daub kits, shaving kits. You
So I
name it,
might
we
be
have
I
it.
might be in too deep, just being around golf so much. But from my perspective, the last 7, 8 years have really brought us back to quality leather goods and unique accessories within golf. We've stepped away from those artificial feeling head covers that just come with your golf equipment. We've stepped away from having um, the almost cartoonish head covers with different animals on them. We've almost worked back towards this traditional feel with some golf course logoing, leather goods, tweed goods. Have you all seen an uptick in a lot of these areas? Or can you give an indicator of, are these back? Or are these coming back in style?
Well, it's really kind of interesting. Our business has been steady over the years. Uh, we don't do a lot of true advertising because uh, we stay busy. We're usually, at least 3 weeks out on golf bags, head covers, and those accessories were probably 2 to 3 weeks. Um, Megan has a great team that we have like one girl, she just focuses on head covers and stays busy. And we hand cut everything. Nothing comes in here pre-cut for us. We uh, it's handmade. I mean, that's the best way I can say it, and handcrafted. Um, and we encourage even people. We had a gentleman this past week come into the shop and pick your leather, pick your fabric, pick your tartan. We had a gentleman come in Monday, and I had gotten the call on Friday, and I thought it was kind of unusual. And he says, I'm up in northern Michigan and I want to have a golf. My wife wants to get me a golf bag for Christmas, and I've been drooling over your bags for years. And she said, get anything you want. And he said, I know where we're going. He literally drove. He asked if I was going to be in on Saturday. And I said, unfortunately, not this past Saturday. He said, okay, I'll be in your shop on Monday. Well, this guy is up in the tip of the mitten of Michigan. And I'm like, sure, right. Son of a gun. 9:30 Monday morning, he comes walking through the door, spent probably 3 hours here with the three of us. And he's going to have a really unique bag. He was going through different tartans with different colors, different leathers. And, we charge a little bit more for that bag because it's a lot more custom, but majority of our bags are very reasonable. Let's put it this way. If someone will go out and spend $500 to $800 on a driver, that by the end of the season, they're going, why did I buy that? You can buy a bag from us and you're going to say, man, that's great. Next year, you're going to say, boy, does that look better? The year after, they're going to say, man, does that have a nice look to it? And it's going to last you. That's the cool thing about it.
There's got to be something special too to have that input, to have that buy-in on your bag to get to completely design it and know that it's coming not from some mass production or from artificial fabrics that are made out of oil. They're coming from people that have put their craft into it, which is wonderful. I want to switch over to a different craft that y'all contribute back to though, and that's the game of hickory golf. It looks like uh, Stuerer and Jacoby is really involved with hickory golf with their bag production. I wonder if you could talk about some of the events that you help out with.
Well, we help out with a lot of different hickory events. Matter of fact, we sponsor the only hickory golf tournament here in Kentucky, which we just held a couple of weeks ago. And we play it at a very exclusive golf course that goes back to 1927. That's still identical to what it was in 1927. It's called Owl Creek Country Club, and it's in the little exclusive suburb called Anchorage, Kentucky. And we limit it to 40 players. And you're playing a course that hasn't changed. It's in beautiful shape. I'll never forget when we approached them a year ago, they said, if you hold it this weekend, it'll be as pretty as Augusta. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. I'm here to tell you, it was like playing on carpet, putting on ice that had carpet on it because the greens were fast. But, that I was given a plug for that. We call it the Bluegrass Hickory Open. As far as hickory overall, yes, because of my buddy Mike Just, I got involved with it. Matter of fact, I gave my granddaughter my last set of Wilson Staff blades that I got probably 10 years ago with their, where it was half shafts, half steel, half graphite. Because I started playing hickory, and I still have modern clubs, but don't ask me where they are. And when Bailey graduated from Bellarmine, I gave her a set of hickory clubs. And let's put it this way, I'm proud to say I'm her manager of tournaments because she is she's won quite a few. She won the first two Florida State Hickory Opens. She won our tournament. She has won Mid Pines. She's U.S. Hickory Open, been runner-up. The Winter Park 9, she's won.
My
She's
goodness.
taken to it. She can probably talk about the transition better than the duffer. She's the pro, I'm the duffer. And
My goodness. Not only do you have to sit there and answer questions about these gorgeous golf bags, but then people are likely approaching you for your signature as the winner of all these tournaments, Bailey. Um,
No.
Having played competitive golf a lot of folks probably haven't touched a hickory club. Sometimes it's intimidating. They break, especially if you buy old ones. What can someone expect in trying to move from the modern game back into hickory golf as an accomplished player?
Really, there's not a lot of difference. For me, it's the same exact swing, same kind of game. They'll just move you up in the tee box. So you'll play a little shorter distances, just to account for that. Because, I mean, my hickory driver is going to go probably 30 yards less than my modern driver. Um, but it really is just a fun little challenge. You're not going to get as much height on your ball. You're going to play a lot of bump and run shots. But it just when you hit it right, it just feels so nice. Just just the feeling when it comes off the club. It's just like nothing else.
Now,
Um,
is there a rule and regulation within these hickory leagues that you're playing some of the old wound balls or some of the old Haskells, or can you bring a modern golf ball with?
No, we play with modern golf balls.
Okay.
There's some people that will play with the old reproductions, but I'll play with the regular golf ball.
I would say, Will, I do the same. I hit up the vintage store and go try to find anything pre 70s out there for
There's
golf balls.
in Omaha, a retired surgeon by the name of Dave Brown, who owns a golf ball company called McIntyre Golf Balls. And he reformulates, he's been using the Wilson 50 into whether it be a We Met pattern or a Brummel pattern. He remolds the balls to the era of the teens, and he even makes some gutty balls. But it's I play with the We Met pattern just because it's not going to make any difference whether I use that or some real fancy ball. My ball is going to go so far. And when we play the hickory courses, you got to remember hickory courses back in the 20s and earlier, even into the 40s, a regular golf course, they were down in the 5,500 or less yardages, not these 6,000, 7,000 yard courses. So even as Bailey's pointed out, the club might go a little less, but you weren't playing 7,000 yards. So it makes the game a lot more fun, at least for me. And it's really kind of cool. We try to play mainly vintage courses, McAllister and Ross courses is where we hold a lot of the tournaments. Whether now the exception to that is Bailey also has won the Wisconsin Hickory Open on Whistling Straits, and we'll play Whistling Straits every year in a tournament. That's probably the only, well, that and Black Wolf Run, they hold a tournament there just because of the fun of the challenge, but they also, with the traditional designs of the course, tend to fit into hickory. But the yardages are cut back and people can enjoy it. We just came back from the U.S. Hickory Open, which was at the Kenosha Country Club, which was another Donald Ross course. And they just spent, what was it, like $6 million redoing the bunkers so they would be just like they were when the course opened 100 years ago. And my opinion is there shouldn't be a bunker on a golf course. But it was really fun, and Bailey was the runner-up
So
there.
I'm curious because you mentioned some of the Kohler courses. We had the opportunity to play them this year, not in the best of weather conditions. Hickories can be a little bit more difficult to play with. Let's be honest; they can be very tough. I'm curious what kind of scores win these opens, because I look back to the early 1900s, late 1800s U.S. Open scores, and shooting in the high 70s for 4 straight rounds was almost a sure to win.
Mhm.
It's still that way. I'd say the guy that won the Open was shooting high 70s,
Yeah.
maybe 76, 77.
What did Brendan
um,
shoot at ours?
Brendan Farron, who won ours, he shot
70.
76 and 72, I believe.
Yeah.
And he
Wow.
won. So
Wow.
yeah,
And
pretty awesome.
there's some guys out there that really, matter of fact, at Owl Creek, the pro said that he would have probably won the club championship playing Hickory while everybody else was playing modern. So it's there, there's courses that are meant for Hickory, and there's courses such as even locally Valhalla. You wouldn't want to play Valhalla with Hickory. It's not a Hickory course.
Yeah.
There are a couple guys out there that do play Hickory, but they say this is not a course to play Hickory at. You just got to remember what the game was designed for at that time, and the clubs and the ball. They weren't designed to fly 300 yards, as some of these guys can hit it with the roll. Even DeChambeau played Hickory at one tournament, for a Hickory tournament. But you have Lyles won the World Hickory Open, Lenny Lyles. We have
Adam Scott
has one
has
of our
played
bags.
with our bags, with Hickory clubs.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to search that. Hopefully that's on YouTube. The envisionment that I have, because here in the Twin Cities where we are, we have a host of excellent municipal courses that were a part of WPA projects or came about either during WPA or the golden era, that have not changed. They get a little bit monotonous, a little boring with modern clubs, but going out there with one of your golf bags and going out there with a set of hickories is just one of the most fun experiences to change a golf course that you maybe play a little bit too frequently with your modern set. I wanted to close things off here. I wanted to ask any Christmas specials, and I wanted to give this caveat because you mentioned a couple weeks lead time. I'm likely going to put this out a little bit earlier than mentioned. I'll have that piece on our gift guide as well, but I want to get this out earlier than that because it sounds like a 2 to 3 week lead time needed to manufacture some of these bags. So for listeners that are interested in a bag as a gift, want to give that caveat. Hey, you should probably start looking at your combination right now. Is that accurate?
And we also created a code for you guys, break 80. If your listeners want to put that in, when they go to buy a golf bag, they'll get $100 off. And that's for any of our wax bags, our tartan bags, and our leather bags. And that's just excluding the pencil bag. But yeah, if any of your listeners want to look into getting a golf bag, they just use the code break 80 and they'll get $100 off.
Excellent. Excellent. And then any other additional Christmas specials or items that come up during Christmas time that y'all do? Obviously, with that beautiful tartan, some of the bags come off appropriately colored for the season, no matter what.
Yeah, so the week leading up to Black Friday, we're going to be doing a lot of different sales and specials and discounts. So I would say keep your eyes out for that. We're going to be doing sales on our Bison golf bags and our tartan golf bags and a bunch of other little fun stuff. So we'll be putting stuff out on social media and the website.
Excellent. And for those that maybe listen to this and want to see what these bags look like, where can folks go to find you guys?
Yeah, our website is just stewerjacoby.com. And they can follow us on all social media at Stuerer Jacoby and see what we've got and what kind of things we can do. And then if anyone's interested in a custom golf bag or has any questions, they can email us at info@firebirdgroupinc.com and we'll be happy to help them.
And also the website is spelled STEURJACOBY.com.
Most excellent. Last bit there, you mentioned that other email, the Firebird group. I know we talked a lot about bags today, but another side of the business over there as well, for maybe those folks that don't need anything leather good or golf related, they can head over to the Firebird Group. And what does that side of the company do?
That side of the company is basically our gifts and premium and incentive type business. And we've separated it mainly because a lot of those goods, all we do is personalize it to what a customer would want, and not, we don't really make it. Where'd you get a tumbler? I mean, we have tumblers that look like golf balls. We have a lot of flasks. We have decanters with glasses that we can do. And for instance, there's a tumbler with a logo on. You know, the way we got into that was because we use a laser to engrave our leather for personalization. Again, it was a way that we did not want to be in people's faces with our name. All we want is the bag to be in somebody's face, however they want bright they want to make it, or how conservative they want to make it. And we really wanted to be discreet, kind of like coming in at midnight with the lights out. And the laser engraver gave us that ability. I bought the machine, and one day I walked by and the machine's just sitting there because it landed up. Megan only needed to use it, maybe a couple hours a week. And I'm going, that's a heck of an investment for 35 grand to sit there and gather dust. So we looked for other ways to make the machine pay off. And because of our involvement with the different golf tournaments, they started saying, well, what can you do for prizes besides golf stuff? And we came up with the decanters, we came up with the tumblers, we came up with flasks, we came up with humidors, a lot of different items like that. And it gives us the ability to easily laser engrave a logo, a name into it. We do a lot with the military. We have a military special. We do things with police and fire logos, given our what we called our Heroes series, a big discount for it. And it's another part of the business that's kind of grown for it. And again, it's there. I don't know if Megan wants to throw anything in on the quality of how they hand cut stuff before we wrap up, but Bailey is a fabulous graphic artist. She's if you send us a logo, I'll guarantee you we can do anything on the laser with her background. And we're gradually getting into the embroidery business, which we have it. You could get a valuables pouch and we could monogram it with somebody's monogram. Like this particular one, we laser engraved our logo on it, but we could laser engrave a logo. We can embroider it. We have luggage tags, bag tags. We can do anything that you need for golf or for a nice little gift at Christmas. One other plug would be is if you got a favorite picture of a favorite person or a favorite pet, we do crystal Christmas ornaments. We'll laser engrave the picture into it.
I've never actually heard of that. I would say the one thing I don't want engraved is probably my last golf score and anything. But the customization sounds endless over there between the different tartans and tweeds that you can get and the different engravings possible by some of the machinery. I want to thank all three of you again one more time with just the websites so people can find it easily. And then I'll get us signed off.
The websites would be Stuerer, Stuerer, Jacoby, Jacoby. If you probably even just typed in Google search Jacoby leather golf bags, it'll pop up. But it's StueerJacoby.com, and the other one is Firebird Group Inc. Don't forget the INC otherwise you're going to be buying something for a car. And our phone number's there. Bailey, Megan, and I'll be more than happy to answer anybody's question, walk them through an order. Come visit us. We're just outside Louisville, and we appreciate this time. And you come down here, let us know, and we appreciate it.
Y'all have all 4 seasons, but don't have to deal with winter as much as we do here, so I might even take you up on that offer. Uh, Folks, if you're not able to see this on YouTube, visit those websites. What they're doing is absolutely incredible. Whether you're playing a modern set of 14 clubs or you've taken the jump into a set of hickories to put in these fantastic bags, the difference between 79 and 80 is everything.